Good morning, I'm Pete Ash. It is Wednesday, November 22nd, and you're watching NYSE TV Live. We are coming to you from the New York Stock Exchange, the epicenter of the global financial markets on the corner of Wall and Broad Street in Lower Manhattan. And today is a very special day. Santa Claus is here at the exchange and will helping ring the opening bell with Macy's NYSE ticker M. From the cubes behind me on the trading floor to the video screens on the New York Stock Exchange building on the corner of Wall and Broad in Lower Manhattan, we have Macy's branding all over this iconic building, letting everyone know the holiday season has arrived. Will Koss, Vice President and Executive Producer of the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, will ring the opening bell and open the U.S. markets. Now, Santa is no stranger to the New York Stock Exchange. This is the 15th time that Santa is helping Macy's ring either the opening or closing bell in celebration of the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. When it comes to the New York Stock Exchange, Santa's more of a morning person. This is his 12th time participating in the opening bell compared to 3 times that he's closed the markets. Macy's ringing the opening and closing bell in conjunction with the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade dates back to 2005, but Santa didn't make his trip down south from the North Pole in time to join the festivities until 2007. The Thanksgiving Day Parade has been an annual tradition in New York City for nearly a century, but that doesn't mean that this year will be just like the rest. For the first time in history, the parade will start at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, a half hour earlier than previous years. There'll be an array of new balloons and floats, including Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles float and the Pillsbury Doughboy balloon. Pillsbury, of course, being one of the iconic brands under General Mills, NYSE ticker GIS. But one thing that'll stay the same is the parade's broadcaster, NBC, which will air the event as it has every year since 1952. Thanksgiving Day rightfully gets a lot of buzz for family, turkey, and football, but for many consumers, it's the day after the holiday that's circled on their calendar. According to fresh data from Deloitte, consumers plan to spend $567 billion during the Black Friday and Cyber Monday events. This represents a 13% increase from last year. This is coming despite headwinds putting a squeeze on shoppers' wallets. The price of consumer goods went up 3.2% in October, its lowest in over a year, but that's still well above the Fed's 2% inflation goal. So we'll see how that impacts their direction on interest rates. This could pose as a challenge to credit card users. Matt Scholes, Chief Credit Analyst for LendingTree, joins me now. Good morning, Matt. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
So the Fed has paused its rate hike campaign. How much relief does that show to the retail credit card user?
It's given a little bit of relief, but I don't think anybody should be under the impression that because the Fed's taken their foot off the gas, that credit card interest rates are going to go down anytime soon. If anything, they're probably going to go up a little bit more in the near future. They're not going to go up as fast as they have for the past 18 months, but they're also not going to go down either.
Well, speaking of credit card rates and speaking of Black Friday, many retailers offer store credit cards, which can be enticing to a shopper who go to a certain store very often. When a consumer is offered one, what should they consider before opening it?
The main thing they should consider is whether they can pay off what they're buying when the bill arrives, because even by sky-high credit card standards, store credit cards have really, really high interest rates. A lot of them top 30%, which is something that we haven't seen in previous years. And when you have that high of an interest rate, it doesn't really matter how big that discount that they might be offering is. You don't need to be an accountant to understand that paying a 30% interest rate to save 15 or 20% off a purchase doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
So we think about the interest rates, say perhaps flattening, not quite going down now. What is the current outlook for cardholder confidence when holding this debt?
Yeah, cardholders have been feeling a little bit less confident, really going back to 2020, 2021. It's been gradually declining. It's still relatively high. Every month we do a survey about how confident cardholders are in being able to pay their card's monthly statement balance in full in that particular month. And it's generally around 55–60% of people who are confident, but that number has been falling. And it's easy to understand when you think about inflation, rising interest rates, and a few other economic headwinds that are out there. But this holiday season, I expect to be a little bit difficult for cardholders as well.
Yeah, and the cardholders who are unable to pay their credit card bills in full each month can be hit not just by the average APR annual percentage rate, but increased ones. How can people really reduce their own interest rate and gain power over what they're being charged?
The good news is that there are a few things that they can do. A 0% balance transfer credit card is one of the best tools that people can have in fighting credit card debt. You can end up going almost 2 full years without accruing any interest, depending on the card you get. That can be a really good thing. A low interest personal loan can be a good option too if you don't have good enough credit to get a balance transfer credit card. Then the other thing that a lot of people don't know about is that you can call your credit card issuer and ask them for a lower rate. And we did a survey at LendingTree earlier this year where we found that about 3 out of every 4 people who asked for a lower interest rate on their card in the past year got one. So that kind of success rate shows that it's not just folks with an 800 credit score and a long track record who are getting their way. It's regular folks who really need the help too.
And let's say they call, they didn't quite get the new rate they want. You mentioned a couple ways, zero interest balance, but what are the kinds of cards that shoppers are looking at, and where are those available?
Yeah, we've got all sorts of cards available at lendingtree.com, along with a lot of great information about what to know before you apply and how to manage those cards once you get them. But again, balance transfer cards can be really, really useful. And during this holiday shopping season, just a simple, straightforward cash back card that gets you 1.5% or 2% cash back on what you're buying can be a really useful thing. And if you've already got money, if you've already got cash saved back that you were planning to use for holiday shopping, you may consider getting the new credit card instead, paying for your shopping with that card to try and get that sign-up bonus, and then using that cash that you have in the bank to pay those purchases off. That can be a good way to extend your budget without running up any extra debt.
Lots of good ideas, all available from LendingTree. Thank you, Matt Scholl, so much, the Chief Credit Analyst at LendingTree. I'm going to let you head off to start your holiday weekend earlier, and thank you again.
Thank you.
The holiday season is a bustling time of year here at the New York Stock Exchange. We do work Black Friday. Next Thursday, though, is a big day for us. November 30th, the exchange will be hosting its 100th tree lighting ceremony. And you'll be able to watch all the action right here on NYSE TV Live. To give you a taste of what's to come, here are some highlights from last year's event. Well, last year we didn't let a little rain spoil our fun, but let's hope for a little better weather this year. The Christmas tree we have this year will arrive at the New York Stock Exchange is approximately the same size as the Rockefeller Center one. It is an 80-foot tall Norwegian spruce from Mohican Lake, New York, located in northern Westchester County. The tree grew up on the property of Johnny Rivera and has been the centerpiece of his yard for many years. This year's event, though, has been a century in the making. Known originally as the Wall Street Community Christmas Tree, the New York Stock Exchange has been erecting a tree on Broad Street since 1923. Prior to that, the exchange celebrated the holiday season on its trading floor behind me before starting to celebrate with the entire Wall Street community at large with a public tree lighting. Why 1923? Big year for the electric grid. That was the first time the electric grid was completed here in Manhattan, and down in Washington, President Coolidge presided over the first national tree lighting. Both the Washington, D.C. and New York tree lighting were organized to promote the use of electricity and the electric Christmas lights as a safe alternative to candles on trees. The endeavor was a joint venture between the U.S. government and the electric industry, including General Electric, which still trades on the exchange under the ticker GE, to promote the electrification of the country and reduce the number of holiday fires. Electricity was just part of the innovation and industry that drove the bull market that fueled the roaring 1920s. Each year since, a large tree has been lit, except 1973, when it was still decorated but left dark to support the ongoing energy crisis in the country. For decades, the tree dedication ceremony was primarily a daytime event, accompanied by the Salvation Army Band and perhaps a local children's choir. But by the turn of the century, the NYSE tree lighting has truly evolved into what it is today, with celebrity appearances and musical acts providing entertainment. Next week, actor Dennis Leary will be this year's ceremonial tree lighter. And earlier this week, our lead anchor, Trinity Chavez, spoke with Bianca Cavazzini, who is directing this year's tree lighting ceremony. Let's listen to what's on tap for this year.
We have the 100-year annual Christmas tree lighting coming up. I mean, you have been the driving force, spearheading this extraordinary event. You and your team, tell me about what that process has been like.
Well, I'm super excited to be talking about it. Thank you so much for having me. But the tree lighting is always an exciting time at the New York Stock Exchange. It is such a labor of love. My team puts in effort starting at the end of January. So we've been working on this for almost a year now. And I'd be remiss not to shout out Dana Lang and Delaney Hassan, who have been helping the entire time. But it is a full team effort, and it's just so exciting. We're so excited to be celebrating it next week.
And you know, you're talking about a full team effort. Let's talk about actually how many people have contributed to hosting this event.
Yes, definitely. So not only does the whole marketing team, events team, put in the work for this, but we have our facilities team, AV broadcast, catering, and then all of our production team that we partner with that are outside for days getting it set up and working with us. So it is really a full team effort, roughly around maybe 100 plus people that work on this, so all together, so it's great. We love it.
So give everyone a little preview about what we can expect. You know, I know that, me and other members of our team, we're all gonna be taking part in this huge event. So, walk us through what we can expect that day.
Well, because it is the 100th, it is our biggest year. We have really got a good lineup for everybody, but we will be having our biggest street festival outside with over 25 different companies that will be participating in amazing activations for the downtown community. We also have a great lineup of performers that will be starting around 3 p.m. And it's all fun, great music, amazing acts that everyone will be participating in. I don't want to give too much away, but our friends from Duckhorn will be there, MasterCard, Solo Stove, Salvation Army, Toys for Tots, and of course you will see Santa walking around, so you can't forget to take a picture with him.
Yes, of course.
But it'll be great. It'll be amazing.
I'm really excited. I'm looking forward to it personally. Now, it's really a global event. Even though people are not able to come, and be there personally, they can also tune in to our live show we're going to have that day as well.
Oh, of course. We're definitely going to have our live show. I know you have a lot of good interviews coming up,
yes,
and the rest of the team, so it'll be great to hear those interviews, whether it's from members of our participating companies, our fabulous acts that will be there. But it is great. And I always also want to mention our global giving campaign, where we have over 200 plus companies participating that they really like to show off all of the different programs and charities that they support, which will also be featured during the program. So it's great. There's something for everybody.
So let's talk about the tree lighter. Who is it going to be this year?
Well, this year it's a really exciting partnership because we are a pillar of the downtown community. We love to champion our partners that are located downtown, and this year it is first responders and the FDNY. We'll be honoring them with lighting the tree for our 100th. Special guest, we will have Dennis Leary here as well in support of the FDNY, so it will be very exciting and very close to home for everybody in the downtown community. So something we're very, very honored to be participating with them.
Everybody who's watching, tune in to NYC TV Live on November 30th, and you will be a part of all of the festivities. Thank you so much for joining me, Bianca.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Trinity and Bianca. I am now on the trading floor, which opened in 1903, 20 years before those tree lightings started out on the corner of Wall and Broad Street. And, I was hearing them talk about all the things that go into today's tree lighting. Think about Macy celebrating almost 100 years of tree lighting. Think about how this floor behind us has changed over that time. I never really thought of it before, but we lit a tree in 1923 to celebrate the electrification of Lower Manhattan. Obviously, when this building opened, we had electricity, but this building predates everyone around here even having electric in their homes. Kind of an amazing thing. But as we're waiting for the market to open, we can see some crowds are starting to join here. The week before Thanksgiving tends to be a pretty quiet week, but with Santa and Macy's on tap, I expect some people to make their way down to check out, who doesn't want to see Santa? And as we're leading to the opening bell, all attention is on Macy's. We talked earlier about their branding all over the floor, beautiful animation celebrating the nearly 100 years of Macy's doing their parade, kicking off Thanksgiving, ending it, of course, with Santa. And the holidays is all about bringing people together, making the connections, reconnecting with family and friends. And here at ICE, we know a thing or two about making the connection.
Connecting the opportunity is just part of the hustle.
Opportunity is using data to create a competitive advantage.
It's raising capital to help companies change the world.
It's making complicated financial concepts seem simple.
Opportunity is making the dream of home ownership a reality.
Writing new rules and redefining the game.
And driving the world forward to a greener energy future.
Opportunity is setting a goal.
And charting a course to get there.
Sometimes the only thing standing between you and opportunity is someone who can make the connection.
At ICE, we connect people to opportunity.
All right, so here at the New York Stock Exchange, we like our bells. We have our opening bell, our first trade bell, but a sound we don't hear very often, and I've heard it for the last couple seconds, is the sound of jingle bells. So I have a feeling over my left shoulder right here, in just a couple seconds, we'll see Santa making his way onto the trading floor, ringing those jingle bells, letting everyone know that the holiday season has arrived. And I can't think of anyone else I'd rather talk to about the holiday season than my colleague, our head of social, Laura Diorio. Laura, Santa's here.
I feel like Will Ferrell right now. I want to yell Santa so bad. This is so exciting. It never gets old, too. I'm like beaming. Look, he's right there.
And so, we heard a little earlier from Trinity and Bianca about all this stuff going on. I mean, Santa, corporate givings, one of the things that we're doing along with tree lighting is our corporate giving campaign. How are you capturing that on social, and what should we be looking for on social for this holiday season?
Yeah, every year the Global Giving Campaign goes live on our channels. We're at NYSC on everything, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. You can find us all over. And all these amazing companies that are supporting charities of their choice get an ornament on our 100th tree. The tree is 81 feet tall. I'm very proud of that. And it'll be actually put up on Wall Street next week, so you have to come by and check it out. If you can't come to our 100th tree lighting on November 30th, you got to come by downtown Manhattan and check it out. Oh my gosh, this is so fun.
Yeah, and not that we're competitive, but our Rockefeller tree Might be a couple inches smaller than this one. You know,
maybe.
we're a little bit older.
Who's to say? We're a little bit older, we're a little bit wiser, but you know what? All trees are beautiful. All trees are not made equally, but all trees are beautiful. And I just am going to have so much fun creating all this amazing content to celebrate this season, going first into Thanksgiving and the season of giving, and then all the way into Christmas and the New Year and all these amazing holidays. So it's kind of my favorite time of year.
Yeah, it's a really great time of year, and highlighting companies, highlighting everything going on. Obviously here at the Exchange, an exciting day on the floor of the Exchange. You're beaming over Santa, and the elves have made their way down here.
You're like a little kid again. But I mean, there's so much more to celebrate too. I mean, you know, November and December are great times of Giving Tuesday and Small Business Saturday and National Entrepreneurs Day. We just celebrated. Actually, November is Entrepreneurship Month, and so we're all about highlighting that entrepreneurial spirit, going from that journey of starting your business all the way to taking it public on the New York Stock Exchange. So you can find a lot of content surrounding that on @NYSC on all of our channels. And oh my gosh, the elves are coming! I'm so excited!
Yeah, and you know, obviously today's all about Macy's, all about the iconic thing. We have Santa wishing everyone Merry Christmas, but you know, we alluded to this earlier upstairs. You know, we will be open on Friday as well. We will be celebrating with one of our other very long time listed companies. So Friday with small business with American Express.
American Express, right? And actually the close today is the Salvation Army kicking off their iconic bell ringing season where you can donate to all those amazing, that iconic red bucket. And so, you know, it's just, we're all about bringing these families together. And of course, actually one of my favorite days, I know one of yours is, you know, a lot of kids have off that day after Thanksgiving. So the trading floor celebrates what we call Kids Day. It's one of Tom Green's favorite days, I know that, where all of the employees get to bring their kids here and celebrate together with the closing bell. It's also a half day. And so, you know, we get to have some snacks and festivities on the floor and close the markets with some of our favorite kids.
And before we close the markets on Friday, we have to open it on Wednesday. Yeah. And so behind us, the Santa and team, Will Cost, VP from Macy's, also the genius behind the Thanksgiving Day Parade, is making his way up to that bell podium.
Also a frequent flyer at the NYSC, Will Cost, you know, he comes here twice a year, every year, not just for around the holidays, but for the 4th of July as well. Macy's and the long-standing relationship with the NYSC is one I'm really proud of, and I get to highlight all of this on social, so you'll see photos and videos. I have to interview Santa after this, obviously, and the elves. They're so excited to be here, so I'll capture all of that on social today.
Yeah, and so I didn't let you go do your job, captures on social. So as a reminder, let everyone know where they can watch not just today, but also the tree lighting next week.
Yeah, the tree lighting will be at NYSC, LinkedIn, X, Facebook, Instagram, and you can find us at nysc.com/bell to find all your favorite bell highlights. But I got to go hype up this crowd, get them in the holiday spirit.
Well, enjoy that. Thanks so much. All right, so we are getting close to that opening bell. And you know, Macy's was one of the many iconic companies that have listed, put their name on our building. So right before you get back to the opening bell, let's check out some of those other names that have graced our facade over the years. All right, you saw some of those iconic facade banners across our trading floor. Even this year, a couple that will have to add to the reel. But, you know, as you look now, we are only about a minute out from what's going to happen here, which happens here every morning, but this year with a little more jingle bell, a little more holiday cheer. That is the crowd behind me erupting to welcome the opening of the markets. Obviously every day is fun here, but you know, it's super exciting to have Santa up there on the bell podium, Macy's in the audience behind us, and really celebrating all of that activity. You can see the crowds have gathered. Like I said, after the opening bell, we're going to talk to Jay Woods from Freedom Capital about what's going on in the markets. It tends to be a pretty quiet week, but with Santa on the floor, we are pretty packed here on the trading floor with friends, family, as well as traders trying to get that last, you know, those last Christmas wish lists on the on Santa's list, making sure that things are looking good heading in to the holiday. I don't know if you can hear it back through my microphone, but I can barely hear myself with just the jingle bells ringing along, and that crowd is going to join in just a few seconds. And as I'm sure you all are aware, that opening bell represents the opening of the capital markets, represents like, oh, I'm starting to be drowned out. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to the opening bell. All right, the U.S. equities are now open. Little holiday cheer. Now, Santa's going to take a little time up there on the bell podium with Will Koss from Macy's, celebrating the opening bell, celebrating the moment. They're taking a photo behind us, but I am joined by Jay Woods, the Chief Global Strategist at Freedom Capital. So, we were talking a lot about the holiday cheer, but there is a market opening now. So what's on the minds of investors today?
Santa's here. I have no idea. This is unbelievable. I've been doing this for 31 years, the greatest bell ringer of all time. But what is on investors' minds? Well, we want to just get through this day, holiday shortened day on Friday, and then we'll refocus on the end of the year. We got some big earnings that we're watching. Markets are near 52-week highs. The S&P 500 had 8% of their stocks make 52-week highs just over the last week. We're ending this year on a strong note. I think it's going to continue, and who better to lead us down the holiday path than Santa? So it's just, I'm overwhelmed. I'm speechless with this one.
Well, speaking of speechless, the Fed minutes come out from their speeches. Now, we all knew what they said weeks ago.
Yeah.
We talked earlier to Matt Scholes from LendingTree. He talked about what credit card holders are thinking. But why, when the minutes come out, does the market sometimes react? And what is Wall Street looking for in those minutes?
Well, the minutes are basically a report of what they talked about at the last meeting. So we're looking for a little guidance as to what their next move will be. And in this case, the Fed minutes didn't really bring us anything as far as another rate hike goes. So that's a positive. They've been in a pause, and now we are getting that narrative that their moves are helping. Inflation is cooling slowly. It's not near their 2% inflationary goal, but we're getting there. And that path to progress is what's given us optimism here, what's caused markets to rally. And those minutes yesterday, they basically said, we are going to pause for the foreseeable future. 1-2 meetings. They meet December 13th. They meet in January. And then we'll see where we go. So for us, that was a positive, and it keeps the momentum going in this rally that we've seen since October 27th slow.
And you mentioned, consumer trends, inflation reducing, not at that 2% rate. Nope. Obviously, holiday season, many people are worried about, not burning their turkeys tomorrow. But for those looking at the market, to wrap it up, yeah, he's right up there waving down. No, it's all good. It's very distracting if they have. How you doing, Santa?
All right, and he's going to rally coming. That's what I asked for. So.
The Santa rally. I mean, is that a thing? I mean, what are investors and events are they looking at? Is it merely Black Friday sales?
Well, hey, let's talk Macy's since they're here. They're ringing the bell. They got the holiday season started off right as far as rallies go. The stock had a great quarter. Guidance was solid. So I think that was the step in the right direction. As far as the December rally goes, I'm a traditionalist. I look at seasonal patterns, and this is the time to be in this market. November, second strongest month of the year. Third strongest month of the year is December. So we usually finish the year out strong, especially in years where the market has been acting well. When the S&P 500 is up over 10% going into that final quarter, historically we rally because people are doing what? They're positioning their portfolio to chase performance. So we're seeing a lot of the stocks that have been beaten down, including Macy's, unfortunately, really start to turn the corner. And these downtrends are starting to break. This is a sign of good things to come. Who better to symbolize that than Santa Claus? And yes, I think that this is the beginning of a nice pivot as we kick off 2024 next year.
Yeah, and the viewers back home are actually seeing us and Santa, so they got double box.
They're
so.
not watching us. They're just watching Santa.
But, you know, the Santa, you think about that, you talk about Macy's, you talk about all of that. But before we get to Christmas, it's Thanksgiving, of course.
It is.
So tomorrow, you said we're open on Fridays. Tomorrow, you're off. Most important question you're going to get. Lots of options here. Best side.
Best side? Oh, mashed potatoes. In my house, it's twice baked mashed potatoes. Mac and cheese is always a good one. I'm not that fruity vegetable kind of guy, although, you know, those that know me, this isn't shocking. But yeah, twice baked potatoes. I made them last night. I had a little accident with the blender. When you go to clean it off, you're supposed to unplug it first. And yeah, there's mashed potatoes on my ceiling. But those will be good, you know, leftovers come Friday. A lot of options. What about you, Pete? I'm going to throw the question back at you. I know I'm not supposed to ask the interviewer, but...
No, I'll take the question.
Okay.
It's, for me, I guess it's called dressing when it's not in the bird, but the stuffing, I'm a big fan. Don't eat the bird, but eat the stuffing.
All right.
So that's a big one for me. Also, lucky with the mashed potatoes, just mashed potatoes, not a piece of a finger.
Oh,
but, you know, I think, you know, our audience back home was checking out Santa. You know, he's still up there. I have feelings he's up there all day. You know, we know he's got an appointment tomorrow. But I guess he could stay here until the Macy's Day tomorrow. Did you know it's starting at 8:30 tomorrow? It's earlier, so
not at 9 o'clock?
9 o'clock, which for you doesn't matter. I know you have older kids, but that means I'm going to get woken up a half hour earlier tomorrow for my kids jumping into bed to wake me up. But, you know, more floats to make its way down.
Yeah, well, you know, if you're just there to watch Santa, you have some time. He does end the parade, and there's no better way to end it than to kick off the holiday season. But yes, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. It is a day to give thanks, and I think those market participants this year have a lot to be thankful for, and Santa's here to make sure it goes through the end of the year, so we're excited.
Well, thank you so much, Jay. Go enjoy your holiday.
I got to talk to Santa. I got a long list.
Yeah, go get your list in. And for your viewers back home, happy Thanksgiving. And before we sign off, I want to throw it to my colleague, Josh King, with the last word.
Thank you, Pete. There's always good news on the horizon when Macy's rings the bell of the New York Stock Exchange. Company does it twice a year. In July, in honor of the Independence Day fireworks, and now in November, as we prepare for the annual Thanksgiving Day parade on Thursday. This year, look for 16 balloons, 26 floats, 12 marching bands, and 700 clowns, making their way south from 77th Street and Central Park West. This is, I think, the 97th iteration of the annual tradition that goes all the way back to 1924, when store employees dressed in costume marched to the company's flagship store on 34th Street. Perhaps you'll be gathered with family and friends away from the workplace, like here at the NYSE, to watch the extravaganza, or perhaps, like our troops, police, firefighters, and first responders everywhere, you'll be on station, safeguarding the freedoms and communities that we all hold dear. There's a lot to safeguard this year. On Monday, President Biden pardoned 2 Thanksgiving Day turkeys, their names Liberty and Belle, hailing from Wilmar, Minnesota, who received a red carpet welcome at the Willard Hotel for their stay in Washington, and who are going to live out the rest of their days happily, comfortably at the University of Minnesota. 60 years ago, on November 5th, 1963, with only 18 days left to live himself, President John F. Kennedy issued Proclamation number 3560. As the president proclaimed, over 3 centuries ago, our forefathers in Virginia and in Massachusetts, far from home in a lonely wilderness, set aside a time for Thanksgiving. On the appointed day, they gave reverent thanks for their safety, for the health of their children, for the fertility of their fields, for the love which bound them together, and for the faith which united them with their God. In the proclamation, Kennedy invoked that of his predecessor, George Washington, who, on November 26, 1789, asked his countrymen to share in a day of public thanksgiving and a prayer to God, beseeching him to pardon our national and other transgressions. Well, 224 years after Washington wrote those words, and 60 years after Kennedy reaffirmed them, there's no shortage of national and other transgressions that need a dose of pardoning. That's the challenge for all of us, as our pledge goes, one nation indivisible, always with more work to do on that score. It's something to think about and talk about as you and your loved ones gather around the hearth for their feast on Thursday. As Kennedy concluded his Thanksgiving message, let us be humbly thankful for inherited ideals, and let us resolve to share those blessings and those ideals with our fellow human beings throughout the world. I'm Josh King, and that's the last word. From all of us at ICE and the New York Stock Exchange, happy Thanksgiving.
Together, we built something truly beautiful in the true iconic notion of what America is all about.
This is our task, this is our mission. We have a clear focus and we have the ability to be agile and innovate.
It takes years of dedication to get us to this milestone. It is all because of you.
Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. It is the only thing that ever has.
To be a woman leader, it's not so easy, but it's easy if the passion and the love is coming from your heart.
The New York Stock Exchange is the symbol of what America is all about. Potential of capitalism, the potential of an American dream.
The only way you can move a society forward is a true expression of freedom.